Greetings, my name's Kyrroid, and this is the LittleBigPlanet Retrospective. For those of you that don't know a lot about LittleBigPlanet, here's a brief history before we get into the review. The original LittleBigPlanet was developed by a small team of game devs in Guildford called Media Molecule. The game was critically acclaimed and has won many awards, even being a nominee for Game of the Year in 2008. The franchise grew, being adapted into a mobile game for the PlayStation Portable and PlayStation Vita. There were also two spin-offs, LittleBigPlanet Karting, where you would play Sackboy in a karting adventure using 3D objects for the first time, and a truly mobile game, Run Sackboy Run, for iOS, Android, and PlayStation Vita. And of course, we're not forgetting the other two games in the main franchise, LittleBigPlanet 2 and LittleBigPlanet 3. All the titles previously mentioned will be reviewed at a later date, but right now, we're focusing on the original, the game that rewrote video game history, LittleBigPlanet. In my personal opinion, the story of this game was the most charming of the entire franchise. The story was split into 8 main sections based on different cultures. These 8 sections and their confirmed origin are the gardens representing England, the savannah representing Africa, the wedding representing the afterlife, the canyons representing Mexico, the metropolis representing America, the islands representing Japan, the temples representing India, and the wilderness representing Russia. Each of the characters that you meet in these places are very knowledgeable or helpful in the area, and introduce a new gimmick in each level. The main story consists of an evil cardboard cutout who is known as a collector. The collector does not have many friends, so he abducts many different story characters and you see him in the act throughout many different levels. Your job as a sack person is to bring everyone that he's stolen back, by venturing through all the previously mentioned worlds, making everyone friendly again, and restoring peace and harmony to Craft World. Though, the main purpose of said story mode is being able to give examples of what to do and how to do it. The story mode gives out objects, stickers, and costumes, and it also served as a source of inspiration to creators who wanted to dive into this game and create something new. The appeal of LittleBigPlanet is everywhere. From the adorable and lovable Sackboy, to the costume customization and object creation, and the ability to play online with real people from around the world. Part of LittleBigPlanet's success was the appeal of the Sack characters and the story mode. One thing that drew a lot of people in, including me, was being able to see their own culture or heritage being represented on a minuscule scale that still gave people what they wanted to see. LittleBigPlanet truly showed that it was a game made for everyone, not kids, not adults, not esport professionals, but for people of all shapes, sizes, and backgrounds. A main motive of mine upon finishing the main story was trying to make levels worthy of winning the infamous rare prize crown. Of course, the main thing not to forget, and the appeal for a lot of other people, is the create mode. A game like LittleBigPlanet got people thinking, I can make a game like that, I can create a level like that. And they created, and they kept on creating, eventually evolving the community with millions upon millions of levels. LittleBigPlanet just recently hit 10 million levels. This game let people know that even if you finish the story, someone out there just published a new level for you to play and enjoy. The fun never ends, with DLC and updates introducing more and more features that you could enjoy in community levels without even owning the content yourself. Music is a vital part of enjoyment in any game. LittleBigPlanet has some of the best tracks in gaming. I don't know if it's a nostalgia of coming home and playing LittleBigPlanet every single day after I finish my homework.
And playing the newest community levels and listening to the same
tricky business
in every bomb survival, train survival.
Music is just so iconic to me. Listening to the different types of music of different cultures from around the world really kind of gives you an incentive to learn more about different cultures. And I know that probably sounds really boring to some of you, but that's kind of what got me fascinated with ancient Japan and India. But the most exciting part to me about getting a new piece of music would be to find an interactive one. and inviting some friends over so that we would make each other guess what song is actually playing. I feel like the music that was not produced by any of the common composers or the TV orchestra was perfect for the series of levels. This includes the wedding reception and Boomtown and many other levels. Here, I'm going to sample some of the most iconic tracks very quickly so that you can get an idea of what I'm talking about, if you don't already know, of course. I don't even think this needs to be a section on this rubric. LittleBigPlanet has so much user-generated content that you wouldn't ever need to play any other game again for the rest of your life. Okay, I know that was an exaggeration, but I mean, come on. Personally, I've been through 2 accounts, 2 PS3s, and have beat this game in particular with new profiles many times, which approximately says that I've beat LittleBigPlanet about 4 or 5 times, and I'm still not bored with any of the story mode levels. Oh boy, here comes the controversial part of the video. A lot of critics and other game reviewers have said that the controls were far too floaty. See, I never understood what this meant until I started to get more into the Nintendo universe and played more Mario. I don't know if it's just because I got into Mario later than I did to LittleBigPlanet, but I prefer LittleBigPlanet's floaty controls over Mario's solid controls. I always liked being able to control my direction when I jump, and having a bit more airtime to do so. A few of my friends also complained about the floaty controls at first, but they slowly grew to like them, similar to the Splatoon motion control controversy. Other than that, I'd say that the game controls very well, and took advantage of the DualShock 3's functions such as push-in joysticks, rumble, and 6-axis. 6-axis was basically what you would do to move around your sack person's head and control the arms. The rumble pack would indicate when you were in danger or about to die, and everything from there was standard, except for slapping people. It just felt really awkward having to readjust and use my palm to move the joystick back and forth. I love the level design of Little Big Planet. There couldn't be a better way to show off how you can develop a game using the tools you've made for other people to make levels with. I especially love the platforming levels like Lowrider that use pistons or spring to launch you up in the air to get to higher areas, or other levels like the Dancer's Court, which literally uses dancing blue people to help get across from fire hazards and other areas. And lastly, the Great Magician's Palace that uses emitters to recreate patterns of blocks and then makes them disappear again. None of the developers ever failed to show new and innovative levels that really push the limits of this game's creation system. While the main gimmick is play, create, and share, the game has many mechanics that aren't touched upon as much as they should be. Every few levels you can find a key to a score challenge by Little Zim or Big Zam. You can also play these levels and compete with your friends to get the higher score. There's also a certain number of power-ups, such as the Jetpack, Paintinator, and Scuba Gear. Though there are a limited number of power-ups in the first installment, the community did not make sure of what they could do with these power-ups in later updates. While the art style is whimsical and beautiful, the real mechanics in this game are in the tools bag. You have a variety of different strings, switches, tags, and bolts. These are what make things move. They are what make all obstacles and scenery interact together. While most of the game consists of running and jumping, there are an endless amount of ways that this game works. You just have to find your own. At first glance, people brush off games like Little Big Planet as easy games that don't require as much skill as games with a more realistic style. To that, I have to say, there are certainly some levels in here, Sensei's Lost Castle, the bunker, that have taken me 2 weeks to complete when I was younger. That level is still hard to complete, even to this day, 7 years later. If you don't believe me, let's just say, you're never gonna want to see a spinning wheel ever again for the rest of your life. This game can be extremely easy, yet other levels can also make it painstakingly difficult, making it all the more fun for everyone, unless you don't like a challenge. Let's talk about the bad first, because I think there are too many overwhelmingly good things that I have to say about this game. I know at least one of you is waiting for me to say this, but even though I don't want to admit it, there is a problem with copied levels on Little Big Planet. Yes, the same levels are being copied and published over and over and over again. It has made me feel discouraged, thinking whatever I make is still not going to get as much plays as the Shark Survival or Bomb Survival that have been copied so many times that nobody even knows who originally created the level. Now, this is not to say that these copied levels aren't enjoyable. These levels actually contain a lot of enjoyment. I've played many Bomb Survivals and they've never really seemed to get boring to me, unless I play by myself. But most of these copied levels are more easy to play with friends, and they kind of also act as a source of inspiration. And I know that kind of contradicts what I just said, but when you copy a level, you can see how the mechanics work and get inspiration to make your own similar level. And now that we have the bad out the way, let's talk about the good. This game has what I would say is the best online multiplayer experience for a console game. Playing with friends is simple, easy, and fun. I've never experienced lag even once with Little Big Planet 1, except for occasionally getting a red screen and waiting a little bit for my Sackboy to respawn. But other than that, it was all smooth. There's also a dive-in feature that allows you to play with another random user over the internet, and leads to enormous amounts of fun when you play levels like Bora Bora Island too. Side note, I remember when I used to dive in back then, people would wait for you to dive in, then they would go to the bunker so that you could beat it for them because they were so bad at it. Little Big Planet is an instant classic. This game has much more to offer than meets the eye. From the adorable and charming Sackboy to the cultural references in story mode, the appeal of the wacky world that is Craft World will always live on in my heart, and the hearts of many others, regardless of how old this game gets. Despite the annoyances other people have experienced with this game, I personally do not have any problem with it. But what game is more deserving of this rating? then the game that inspired many people around the world, including myself, to create games, movies, art, and music. Thank you, Media Molecule, for creating such a masterpiece, and really know how to poke at my curiosity to help myself achieve my dream. Without this video game, I don't know where I would be right now, but most importantly, it helped everyone who played it realize that any dream is achievable, as long as you try your absolute hardest. Of course, thanks to Mr. Zebra Gamer for allowing me to use his footage of the game. If you're not subscribed to him already, you should. Click that link in the description, and be sure to follow me on Twitter, and like the video if you enjoyed. Suggest future videos and tell me what you thought in the comments below. Stay tuned for my upcoming reviews of LittleBigPlanet 2 and LittleBigPlanet 3. I'll see you next time.